If you're a heating air conditioning technician, is it possible for you to make over 200 grand a year as a tech? This is a fantastic question. I'm Scott Silvenbell, coming to you live from Honolulu Bay, Kauai, on a perfect day to talk about sales and business, and a fantastic day to talk about you. Let's have the real conversation. Can you make 200 grand or more, 300, 400 grand a year? Absolutely. But I want to give you some caveats. I want to give you some things that you need to be aware of, and I want to help you have longevity in the industry. One, you got to get really good on diagnosing equipment and figuring out what's wrong with it and what caused the issue. Two, you got to get really good at communication. And three, you got to make sure that you're doing the right thing. And so here's what happens is I will see people get in an industry, any industry, and they're like, all I care about is the money. If you're good at what you do, the money will follow. If you're good at what you do, you will make the money. And so what ends up happening is they get in and they're like, well, you know what, today I'm just going to take this shortcut and nobody will ever know. I'm not going to get caught. Okay, right? I don't condone it, but that's what you're going to do. And then the week later, they're like, you know, I could do that again and I'm not going to get caught. Okay, don't condone it, but you're going to do what you're going to do. And then what ends up happening is they get so far off kilter that they don't remember that they're breaking rules. And the next thing you know, they end up on television or worse because they couldn't do the right thing for their buyer. So you got to have service in your heart, got to do the right thing, but 200 grand, absolutely reachable. So you start figuring that in some places, like I live in California, systems are going to start somewhere around $20,000. And in some major cities like LA and San Diego, it might be 25. Could be 30, right? Just depends upon where you're at, depends upon the company. And so like if you go through and you figure out the math and you figure, okay, on average, I'm going to make between 8 and 10% commissions on these jobs. I need to sell $2.5 million of equipment. In 2001, when I started, $1 million was a lot, and I sold $1 million my first year. $2 million is completely doable if you sell 100 to 150 systems. Well, that means if you have a 50% closing rate, that means you're going to run 300 leads. Now, if you're a senior technician or a selling technician, whatever they call them where you're at, that metric's probably going to be closer to 400 or 500 leads that you're going to run in a year for a major company. And you're like, you start doing the math. Can I legally, ethically, morally close 150 of those at 200 at 20 grand? It's good, $3 million in sales. At an 8% closing rate or an 8% commission, that's going to be $240,000. Like, you could just sit down and do the metrics. Now, here's the thing. If you want to be better at sales, you want to be good at what you do, you should absolutely join my email publication. Go to this URL, type it into a browser. It's hvactechsecrets.com. Drop it into a browser. I'll give you the goods, not in the Facebook group, not the YouTube channel. It's an email publication. You get emails from me, right? I write them. You'll love them. Usually like from one of the cool places, like today I'm in Kauai. Absolutely doable, 100%. You can make 200 grand, but you can't lose sight of who you are, and you can't lose sight of like your morality. And so like it's funny because people will see me and meet me off-site and they're like, Scott, thank you so much for mentioning that you got to be moral about it. Homeowners, sometimes when they watch my videos, they freak out about how much people make, but they say thank you for reminding guys, dudes, chicks, whatever, to be moral and to do the right thing for your client. I think that that's super important. Here's what's going to happen. If the industry loses sight of that, it will get managed by the government, and the government can't manage anything. So you don't want that to happen. Please, for the third, fourth, or fifth time, make sure that you're doing the right thing for your client or your buyer. You got one of three things to do from here. Just one of three. Find the subscribe button, click on it, and every time I send out a video, you'll get an update. 2, hit follow. 3, you know what you got to do. Share this video with a friend. We'll see you soon. Aloha mahalo.